Hello guys, welcome back to our channel. My name is Amotayo Ido and this is, what's your name?
Ayo.
This is Ayo today. So today I'm finally sharing a highly requested video on how we were able to heal and deal with his eczema. So a little background, he had eczema since he was 2 months old. We discovered he had rashes actually when he was like 2 weeks old. So we thought it was just baby acne and all of that, because is my third child. So my other two child had the same kind of rashes when they were 2 weeks old, and it's normally last for about 2 months or so. So when they're getting like 3 to 3 months old, it usually just clears up. So when we had him and the same thing happened, we thought it was the same. We thought it was the same experience and all of that. So but we just noticed the kid, it kept getting worse and worse and worse. So I took him to the doctor, to his pediatrician. Back then we were living in Philadelphia, so I took him to the pediatrics in Philadelphia. And I remember the doctor was like, oh no, she checked him and she was like, is nothing to worry about and all of that. And that it looks like baby acne and all of that, that it's gonna clear away in a couple of weeks, that we should give it time. So I was like, okay, no problem. So we were dealing with it. So I thought maybe she was right, maybe it's gonna clear and go away. So when when it turned 3 months old, I was expecting it to clear, and by the time it was 3 months, but by the time it was 3 months old, the rashes had gotten worse and all of that. So I took him again to the doctor, and she was like, she doesn't want to prescribe any prescription or anything like that, because he's sorry baby, because he's still a baby. So I was like, which I understand, but she was like, okay, so if I want to get a cream, if I want to get the hydrocortisone from the over the counter ones, that I can try that and see if that's gonna help. So I was like, okay. So after his appointment that day, we went to the pharmacy, and I got him the hydrocortisone. So we got this one. We got the hydrocortisone, the 1%, the over-the-counter one, and we were using it. And I noticed he wasn't really doing anything. So I took him back to the pediatrics, and she saw his face. She saw his face at that by that time it's already looked really bad and it looks infected. So she prescribed some antibiotics, and she prescribed the 2.5% hydrocortisone, because the one you could get on the counter is the 1% one. So she prescribed the 2.5% hydrocortisone with and it had it really bad. It had like a cradle. I'm not sure if they call it cradle back. So it was covered in eczema from his head to toe. So she prescribed this medication, the fluocinolone acetonate and all that. She was told us to use this for his hair, and also to use the 2.5% hydrocortisone, which we started using. It got a little bit better, but it's still wasn't enough, and it kept getting worse and worse. And it got to a point, because this cream is steroid, so it got to a point where his skin became very light and it was red. It was just so very thin. So I was very worried about that, because I did some research online and I saw the steroid can make the skin becomes thin, especially for babies. So we went back again when she prescribed antibiotics, amoxicillin. After the antibiotics, the infection went away, but he had a very terrible diaper rash. So it was very uncomfortable. He was crying and all of that. So I took him back to the pediatrics, and she was asking what medication. So another pediatrician saw us. So she was like, what medication was it taking? So I told her that the other doctor prescribed amoxicillin and all of that for his eczema. And she was like, what? That no, that amoxicillin is not supposed to be prescribed for a baby at this age. And she had this weird expression, but she didn't really want to go deep into it. And she was asking questions like, what's the name of the doctor? And she looked into the system and all of that, but she didn't say anything afterward. But I knew something was wrong. So later she told us, so she said to stop using the amoxicillin, that we should keep using the steroid and all of that. So I was like, okay. So a few months after, so we would put the steroid and all of that, but it still wasn't, it was clearing a little bit, but it still wasn't clearing enough. And it got to a point where his cheek was weeping, like water was coming out and all of that. So later we relocated here to North Carolina. So he saw another doctor. So we went to the doctor, and she prescribed. She saw him, and by that time it was horrible. I mean, it was covered all over. So we went to. So the doctor was like, she's gonna prescribe another medication, that we should stop using this medication that was given to us in Philadelphia for his hair too. So she said, this one of the side effects of this medication is that babies can have brain, that is, if it gets into their brain or something, that it can affect their brain or something. I was like, wow. So she said to stop using this, and also she prescribed some other medication. But before then we tried, so she prescribed this medication, a creaser, and we tried it. It wasn't doing anything. We tried different kinds of medication. So many people recommend oatmeal bath. They recommend, like, we had a lot of creams and everything here that we had tried. Like, it was a lot. It was, when anyone tells me to try something, I go ahead and buy it. Like, we have so many creams and everything that we bought online. It got to a point whereby someone told me to try herbal medicine, because what we call eczema in Nigeria is different from what eczema is called here. So I called my parents in Nigeria to see if they can send us some herbs and all that for the eczema, and they did send some herb, and we make the herb for him and everything, and it still didn't do nothing. In fact, one of the herbs that was sent had sulfur, and we later discovered it was also allergic to sulfur. So by the time I used the sulfur sulfate cream to rub his body, it became, his face, his eyes, everything, his body became swollen. In fact, I was so scared. I had to take him again to the doctor, and she said is allergic to that he might be allergic to sulfur and all that. We need to stop using that. So along the line, I think I was talking to someone, and the person recommended doing an allergy test. So the person was like, the same thing happened to their child, and they had to do what is it called, allergy testing, to find out exactly what was causing it. So we decided to do the allergy testing. So the result came, and the doctor said he was allergic to a lot of food, because I remember I had to stop breastfeeding even when it was like 4 months old, because I thought maybe it was something, it was reacting to something in my breast milk that I was eating. So the allergy result came, and it showed it was highly allergic to shrimp. So I noticed, and then I remembered, and that reminds me that when he was a baby, there was a day I had shrimp, and it became like really white, and he had his skin looks very weird and all of that. So I'm not sure if that was what triggered the eczema back then, but it shows he was allergic to a lot of things like fish, like anything, nuts, anything. He was not supposed to eat beans, soya beans, anything wheat and all of that. He was allergic to a lot of things, and he goes to a pen. I'm like, what are we supposed to feed him? And at this time it was like, I think it was like around 10 months or something. So they printed out a whole list, like 2 pages of list of the things he's allergic to. They even said he's allergic to roaches, to pollen, to dust mites and all of that. I'm like, wow, I've never ever heard anyone, I've never heard it before that anyone can be allergic to roaches and all of that. So the doctor was like, we should try as much as we can for him not to eat those things. So later, so she prescribed some medications. So she prescribed this medication, is the triamcinolone, and she prescribed the mupirocin. The mupirocin is an antibiotics ointment, and she said to only use that when it's weeping, when it looks like it's getting infected and all of that. So we started using the mupirocin. We started using this, but I later noticed that this was too harsh for his skin, because so it got to a point I was very frustrated, because I was like, God, what am I supposed to do? Like, we tried everything physically, I prayed, I did everything. It got to a point I'm like, what exactly is going on? Like, we didn't know what to do. I was trying to be positive, but it got to a point whereby I was like, what else am I supposed to do? Because I remember, especially at night, which is the worst thing, he hardly ever gets enough sleep. He will cry and cry and cry, and I was losing sleep as well. I couldn't sleep as well. I remember, especially on his first birthday, that was like, it was in the one of the worst pain of his life. On his 1-year-old birthday, he was crying. He was in so much pain. His elbows was weeping, like you could see the weeping from his clothes and all of that. So it was a terrible experience. I mean, I've worked in a health field. I worked in the clinic for years, and trust me, I have never seen anything as terrible as that on any baby. Of course, I would deal with babies from like 0 days to adults. So I work in a family practice, so I've never seen anything like that. So I was like, what exactly is going on? Like, where did he get this from? So I asked the doctor, which I did. I asked the doctor, I was like, I have had kids before, none of my kids had this experience. And she was like, it doesn't matter, that every child is different, that it might be from it might be from the gene, which is one thing I would advise anyone to find out. It may not be you or your husband or anything. Maybe your mom, your dad, your like relatives or so that had eczema, that had an eczema gene, and your child or you can still get it. So after we did everything that we were told to do, I did a lot of research and everything. So I was online one day. It was actually the middle of the night. I was just so frustrated. I was looking online, researching one day, and I found this doctor. His name is Doctor. I think his name is Dr. Arnold. He's in the United Kingdom, and he was talking about how to treat eczema and all of that. And he was saying it's not curable, but it can be managed and all of that. But although I've heard a lot of people say, oh, they grow out of it and all that, which is what I'm praying for and I'm hoping for, that I will finally grow out of it. So I looked up, I was watching the doctor, and he was talking about the things that he uses to cure eczema. So I were actually testifying. He had a Facebook group. So I went online and joined the Facebook group, and I saw a lot of mothers going through the same thing. I was like, wow, you know, you never know what. Sometimes you think you're alone, and you'll be surprised to find out that a lot of people are going through even more or the same thing you're going through. So I was really motivated to finally finding a cure for him. So the doctor, I tried trying to find out where the doctor is and how to get in touch with the doctor, but the only way you can get in touch with him is through consultation. And I discovered a lot of people actually fly from all over the world just to go see him, just to go see this doctor. So I was looking. So I saw another interview of his, and in the interview they were asking him what he uses for the eczema, and he mentioned the creams and everything that he used. So he mentioned the triamcinolone and lotion, a body cream lotion, and he also mentioned the mupirocin, the antibiotics cream. And when he mentioned that, I was like, what? Because I had remembered this medication was prescribed to her, the triamcinolone, and is it triamcinolone or triamcinolone? And I remembered I had to stop using it because it was too harsh for his skin. So then what he said was you are supposed to mix the cream, this cream together with you're supposed to dilute it with a lotion or a cream, and then mix it with the antibiotics that prevents any what is it called, any infection that may occur or anything. So I was like, wow. So that night, it was like 2 or 3 a.m. I got up that night and I brought out the cream, and he said it goes by the weight and the age of the patients in order to know the amounts of the cream. But I didn't even wait to see no doctor, and I'm not recommending that. That's just me personally, because you know I was so frustrated. I was so ready to get cured and all of that. So I didn't wait for because of course the doctor prescribed the medication, but she didn't say that we're supposed to dilute and we're supposed to mix it together with another cream and use it together. And everything he talked about was what my doctor actually prescribed, but she didn't really tell us how she told us to use it is different from what the doctor recommended. So I got another container, so I put in this cream and I mixed it with Vaseline. Yes, Vaseline, your regular Vaseline. Just make sure to make sure it's the plain Vaseline, that it's not mixed with anything. And then I mixed that with the mupirocin. Is like an antibiotic. It has to be prescribed. So I would recommend, if you're going through the same thing with your child, if your child has a very severe case of, and tell your doctor to prescribe this medication. So if it's something not serious, you can try any of the other creams and all of that. But if your child has a severe case of eczema, trust me, I would recommend these 3 things. So but don't be like me. Try and see if your doctor can mix it for you, or if there's a place, I'm not sure what they call them. I guess they call them compound medicine or something. I remember back then there are some places that you can go to, something that they can mix up medications and all that. Because the doctor I'm talking about, I'll try and find his link and put it in this video. Hopefully I can find it. If I find it, I'll put it so you guys can also watch what he said. So because his schedule is really booked up, so, and it's, of course, it's a lot of money if you want to fly over to United Kingdom to go to visit, and then you have to first go for consultation, and then you have to make an appointment and all of that, and it's a lot of money. So, and it's also a lot of time, a waiting time and all of that. So I'm not prescribing anything to you, but just ask your doctor for this medication, the triamcinolone, the triamcinolone, and the mupirocin. So with you can use only lotion to dilute, but I use the Vaseline, and it works like magic. Within 3 days, I tell you, within 3 days, his skin began to heal like wonders. Like it was like miracle. Like I could not believe how this thing works. Like it works like it's magic. So since then, that's what we've been using, and we've been trying to maintain. Is we don't use it, we don't have to use it anytime, we don't have to use it every day anymore. As you can see, it still has, the only time we use it now is when he eats some of the things that is not supposed to eat, and of course, is a child, it's really very hard to get him not to eat things that can cause inflammation, which is the cause of the problem. So when he eats food that is not supposed to eat, his immune system attacks his skin, which is what causes the inflammation and all of that. So I would also recommend, so one of my tips in order to get to heal eczema is to talk to your doctor, find out about doing what is it called, allergy testing, to know all the things your child is supposed to eat, or even for adults. This is not just for child, it's also for adults. So find out some of the things you're eating that you're not supposed to do food allergy testing. Also find out your family history. Like I said, it may not even be your parents, it may be your grandparents or so try and find out your allergy, what you are allergic to, and also try and find out what triggers it. Some people said for some people it's stress related. So find out what triggers it and try to avoid it. So, and also if you can try and find out the things that you can try and find out what works for you. Like I said, this is for now, this is what works for us, and we've been using this now for over a year, and it's been working really well. His skin is cleared up. It's not perfectly. I'll try and link the pictures of the before pictures. You guys will see the before picture and what it looks like now. Now he sleeps at night. He doesn't wake up, he doesn't cry anymore. I can sleep, I can wake up as a happy mother. When I wake up in the morning, I'm not sleep deprived, I'm not weak, I'm not that was the worst moments of my entire life. So, and imagine having to go to work every morning and you hardly ever get any sleep. Your child is cranky, you're cranky, like everyone is cranky. And I'm just so grateful to God that we finally found something that we could use. I'm hoping and also praying that the healing will be permanent, that it would, how to grow it, and have that faith that although people say there is no cure, I have faith that God is in control. There is no impossibility when it comes to God, that his healing will be permanent. In Jesus' name. And if you're going through the same thing, I pray you find healing. I pray you find relief and you find healing. I pray you feel better. I pray you feel much better. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to leave it down below in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you guys find this video helpful, and I hope you get healing in whatever ailments or whatever it is that you're going through right now. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Say bye.
Bye.
Say bye.
Bye.
Say see you next time.
Bye.
I'll see you.
Bye.
Bye.
And bye.
Good job.